Okay, so my Honda VFR has been leaking some green coolant shortly after I purchased it. I believe I've now fixed the problem, but I'm just going to do a coolant flush just to make absolutely certain that there's no debris or detritus around the cooling circuit. So stick around, I'll take you through the whole process step by step. Okay, so there's two coolant drain points on the bike. The first one is just here, and this is part of the water pump. So you're going to want to remove that 10mm bolt. Coolant coming out very quickly, so obviously be prepared with a drain bolt as I'm here. Okay, now you know not much has come out. That's because I need to remove the radiator cap. When I do, it's going to come out very quickly. So also note the copper washer on the drain bolt there, we need to replace that when we put it back in. Okay, so that's about as much as is going to come out at the moment. And you'll note that the expansion tank here, they call it the reservoir, but it's the expansion tank. None of the coolant's come out of that, and that's perfectly normal. Don't worry about that, we'll deal with that in a moment. For the moment, I'm going to put this back in, because when we release the other drain point, if we don't put this back in, we're going to get coolant spurting out of here at the same time, and obviously you can't deal with two drain spurts at the same time easily. I'm just going to put that back in loosely. Okay, just hand tight, it's fine. Now we're going to dispose of that and we'll release the other drain point. Okay, so I've got a long 3/8 extension there with the universal joint at the end. Again, this is a 10mm nut. It's going to go up. You've got to go sort of through the various pipes at the bottom of the bike, right up to that nut there on the front of the engine. Okay, the first thing to note is that there is going to be coolant going everywhere in a minute once this is removed. So and I've researched various types of coolant drain pans and guide plates and all sorts, and the truth of it is there is no way to cleanly get this coolant out that I'm aware of. If you're aware of a way, please leave a comment. But I haven't been able to find a way. I've tried multiple products from Amazon, etc. So that drain plug's still open in the front of the engine, and now I'm going to take this one back off. Let's see there, it's just a little dribble. But if you don't have that in, it spurts out very briefly, which obviously makes a huge mess. Okay, so even with both drain plugs out, you can see that there's still a full reservoir there, and that's not unusual. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to release the bottom pipe off of here and drain the coolant out of here as well. Okay, so I'm just going to release this little clip here. So it's now time to replace the drain bolts and the washers on them. So I'm a bit funny, I like to actually use the sort of the Honda official part rather than an aftermarket part if possible. You can see on the drain bolt there, that's the old washer. And to be fair, a bit of a clean up, that would probably be alright. There's nothing really wrong with that. But as I say, I like to use the official part, do it by the book, and Honda do say, as do all the official repair manuals, they do say you should repair the washer on the drain bolt. So these are not cheap though, so I bought these when I was buying some other bits from Honda, because it's not worth the shipping. I'll put a link in the description where you can get them. And it's actually interesting, they've obviously used a new type of washer that's quite a thick washer, and it's not copper, clearly not copper. It's a sort of thing, little stitching time saves nice, sort of thing that will just maybe save you a headache down the line, coolant leak, that sort of thing. So let's get these on. You can remove the expansion tank. All you need to do is remove these two bolts here. They're 10mm bolts. You can wash it out with water, put it back on. Some people like to do that. I've already washed mine out previously, so I'm not going to do that. So we're going to go ahead and put this clip back on. Now we can just get the front bolt back on now. Okay, the access is so tight there that you can't, it's very, very difficult to get an extension bar in to get it located, so just use your fingers. Now I've got it located, it's absolutely fine. To be honest, the flats on that bolt are pretty gone, I think. Next time I do this, I'm going to replace that bolt. So top tip if you're doing this, I recommend replacing that drain bolt at the front if you're in any doubt about it. For the cost of it, it's probably worth doing. I'll put the link in the description. Okay, now we can go ahead and refill the system. Engine takes about 2.9 litres of coolant. I'm using official Honda pre-mixed coolant. As you can see, it's green in colour. I'm quite lucky with this funnel here because it fits perfectly in the top of the radiator there, which is quite handy because it means you can just fill it a little bit too much and it shouldn't leak out, which will be really helpful for bleeding later. Okay, so as you can see, it's just dripping out because it's just slightly too full now, but it's just that some of those air pockets are just going out still. So I'm going to refill the expansion tank on the other side now as well. Once we've done that, we'll start the engine and we'll bleed out the rest of the air pockets in the engine. Okay, now I'm actually not going to fill it up to the very top of the line. I've actually had some problems filling it to the top line, and then what happens is it actually seems that that top line is not quite accurate. If it's roughly in the middle, you're good. And if it's up to the top line, I've quite often had coolant leaks, and that's actually the problem I had before. I just topped the coolant up and then I started the engine. After about 10 minutes it started leaking coolant out of one of these hoses, and it was just simply this hose here, this drain off hose here, it was just getting just had too much in it. So I'm going to leave it out there. Once we've bled the rest of the engine out, that will probably drop a little bit. As long as it's roughly in the half, somewhere halfway, I'm happy with that. Obviously your mileage may vary, but that's what I've found. Okay, so as you can see, the coolant level is right up to the very top there. I'll put my funnel right at the top. I'm going to start the engine now, and what you'll find is the coolant level will go down, and I'm just going to give the pipe here a good squeeze once the engine's up to temperature and once the thermostat is open, and give it a few good squeezes. It's called burping the engine, and that will tend to get rid of the air pockets. It will bring the air pockets up. So that's hopefully how it's going to work. We'll see what happens in practice. Taking up to 102. As you can see, a lot of coolant come out, but it needs a burp to get rid of that air pocket. There we go. Can you see how that disappeared just there? Huge void. It's going to drip off. Just going to top it right up. I'm confident now that we've got rid of all the air pockets in there. Okay, so now we can put the lid back on the expansion vessel, or the reserve tank, whatever you want to call it. It is an expansion vessel in reality. So now we just need to get the fairing back on, and we're good to go. I hope that helps. Do please hit like and subscribe if that helps. It really helps support the channel, and do leave me a comment if this helped you, or if you've got an improvement or something that I didn't spot or add in the video. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Loads more Honda and Honda VFR800 videos to come.